Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Host Eddie Frederick.
So glad you can join us. St. Lucia's Investment Minister downplays concerns about UK visa restrictions. This story takes the lead in today's edition of Caribbean Perspective for Wednesday, 26th July 2023. Details after this important message.
The hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
Welcome back. St. Lucia's Investment Minister says, despite suggestions to the contrary, St. Lucians are in no danger of having visa restrictions imposed on them because of concerns about the island's citizenship by investment program. Concerns about Dominica's CBI program are believed to be behind the UK's decision to require visas for all Dominicans traveling to and through the country. Jason Darius of the DBS News World reports.
A recent report revealed that Dominican passport holders now need a visa to travel to and transit to the United Kingdom. The visa restriction was imposed on Dominica, Honduras, Namibia, Timor-Leste, and Vanuatu. A recent statement by UK Home Secretary Suella Braverman at the House of Commons stated, quote, "Careful consideration to Dominica's and Vanuatu's operation of a citizenship by investment scheme has shown clear and evident abuse of the scheme, including the granting of citizenship to individuals known to pose a risk to the UK." Unquote. With this recent action taken by the UK, there has been widespread speculation that St. Lucia's visa-free access to the territory may be compromised. St. Lucia's Investment Minister, Dr. Ernest Hilaire, says there has been no communication from the United Kingdom to give credence to such reports.
The British government issued a statement that clearly stated the actions against Dominica and why they chose to do so. They never mentioned St. Lucia, never mentioned St. Kitts, never mentioned Antigua, never mentioned Grenada. The official source, the British government, said we're taking action against Dominica. Here is why we're doing it. We've raised concern with them in the past about the CIP. We've told them about the effect of certain practices, how it can affect our security. Accordingly, we acted in this way. Somebody circulates a story from an unknown source that says Dominica first, then St. Lucia in August, and others in September, October. And everybody focuses not on what the official British government said, but focusing on an unknown article that somebody has circulated. What does that tell you? As far as we know, and we are in constant dialogue with all our international partners, there are no issues with our CIP that needs addressing now.
Dr. Hilaire insists, despite heavy criticism by the opposition, that St. Lucia's citizenship by investment program is one of the best in the region, and the island continues to benefit from its effective operation.
Our CIP is reputed to have one of the best, if not the best, due diligence process. We're in constant dialogue. If there is any concern, it is raised with us, we address it. We are in contact with the authorities. There is no issue that has been brought before us as it relates to our CIP. In fact, our CIP is doing better and is more recognized. Only 2 weeks ago, we had an international CIP conference in St. Lucia, Beyond the Passport at Royalton, attended by 150 representatives from all over the world that came to see what St. Lucia is about because of the reputation of St. Lucia and the work that we're doing. If, and I repeat, if any international partner raises any issue with us, we will address it. At this point, there is nothing that has been flagged to us.
St. Lucia will continue to closely monitor its diplomatic relations and ensure that all CIP standards and procedures remain above board and in compliance with international regimes. For the DBS News World, Jason Darius reporting.
Stanley Lucian of HTS News Force tells us that the ECCB contemplates replacing the Queen's face on the Eastern Caribbean currency.
The Eastern Caribbean Central Bank is being proactive in the financial literacy of the residents of the member states of the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union. The central bank is to embark on a financial literacy campaign to be fashioned by the findings of a survey. The new chairman of the Monetary Council, the Finance Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Camilo Gonzalez, says the Monetary Council welcomes the ECCB's efforts at widening financial inclusion.
The Monetary Council received an update on the Dcash pilot, and we affirmed our support for this important project. The Monetary Council noted the key findings of the inaugural Financial Literacy and Inclusion Survey, which will be published in September of 2023. The Council welcomed the bank's plan to develop a strategy for financial literacy and inclusion, informed by the findings of the survey.
The Eastern Caribbean dollar will soon have a new look with the approval of the Monetary Council for the image of Queen Elizabeth II, the former head of state of Britain, to be replaced. But by what?
We also considered the change of the Queen's image on the Eastern Caribbean currency. The Monetary Council approved the following: the replacement of the late Queen Elizabeth's image on the Eastern Caribbean currency, the use of the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union logo on the currency as something subject to a process of public consultation, and that a consultation process on what the replacement image for the Queen should be should go on until December 31st of 2023. During this time, the public will be invited to comment on the proposal to replace the Queen's image with the Currency Union logo and to offer any other suggestions. And we agreed to make a final decision on the new image for the Eastern Caribbean currency by February of 2024.
The new chairman of the Monetary Council says the status of the ECCB remains stable, providing a conducive economic climate for the development of its member states.
Monetary and credit conditions in the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union remain stable and accommodative, helping to anchor macroeconomic stability. The Eastern Caribbean dollar, the only legal tender in the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union, remains stable and has held steady for decades. Fourth, the foreign reserve backing of the Eastern Caribbean dollar remains strong. The current backing is 92.4%, which is well above the statutory minimum of 60%. Fifth, the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank's foreign assets are now around $5.2 billion, compared with $5.04 billion at the end of 2022.
The Eastern Caribbean Central Bank plans to build on its stability and success to introduce modern facilities for its member states. Stanley Lucian for the HTS News Force.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick.
It's official, August 11 has been declared as World Steel Pan Day. This as the United Nations adopted a draft resolution at the 92nd plenary meeting for it to be annually observed on the UN's calendar. Minister of Tourism, Culture and the Arts of Trinidad and Tobago, Randall Mitchell, spoke at a UN sitting in New York on Monday, where he shared key details about the national instrument. TTT's Mahalia Joseph Wharton has more.
The sweet sounds of the steel pan can be enjoyed in any setting, but the steel pan represents more than just its musical versatility, according to the Minister of Tourism, Culture and the Arts, Randall Mitchell.
In fact, it is emblematic of artistic excellence, community empowerment, endurance, self-determination, community, culture, heritage and identity, and not least of all, national pride. Not surprisingly, The rhythmic tones and dance enticing energy of steel pan music saw it adopted and replicated throughout the Caribbean, making it a common offering at tourist resorts and even at most remote getaways in the Caribbean.
He said the steel pan industry is far-reaching and is heavily dependent on the integration of a variety of sectors, such as tourism, culture, trade, and education.
Steel bands have gained prominence in more than 40 states, in almost every corner of the globe, with steel band competitions similar to Panorama now occurring in many countries across North America, Europe, and of course, the Caribbean.
PAN's governing body, Pan Trinbago, has been working since 2019 to have August 11th declared World Steel Pan Day. In September of 2022, Cabinet approved the approach to the United Nations for World Steel Pan Day to be placed on the United Nations calendar of World International Days. August is celebrated as Steel Pan Month in commemoration of the steel pan being declared Trinidad and Tobago's national instrument. Pan Trinbago has scheduled a parade through the streets for Friday, August 11, 2023, the first observance of World Steel Pan Day. Mahalia Joseph Wharton, TDT News.
Trinidad and Tobago's Minister of Public Utilities, Marvin Gonzalez, meantime says the Caribbean Electric Utility Services Corporation, CARELEC, continues to be the beacon of hope for professionals in the electricity industry.
He was speaking at CARELEC's 2023 Engineering and Procurement Conference and Exhibition, which is being held at the Hyatt Regency Hotel from July 23rd to the 27th. The conference is being hosted alongside utility member, Trinidad and Tobago Electricity Commission, and independent power producer member, the Power Generation Company of Trinidad and Tobago. Minister Gonzalez said he was certain that the outcomes of their deliberations would impact the quality of service offered to the citizens of the region.
Particularly heartened by the theme chosen for this conference, empowering transition in the Caribbean energy sector through smart design, efficient procurement, and effective solutions. It is indicative of your acknowledgement that these are times that demand non-typical responses.
General Manager of TNTech, Curvis Francois, said the nation's declining natural gas reserves, coupled with the requirement to reduce our carbon footprint, has hastened the Commission's transition from fossil fuels to an energy mix involving renewable energy.
This, along with other national renewable energy initiatives, will favorably impact our energy security and energy sustainability goals. The Commission is also implementing smart grid technologies to improve system reliability. We have already installed dozens of automatic network devices that work synergistically to reduce the extent and duration of outages.
Barbados' Prime Minister Mia Mottley believes there needs to be a return to the widespread screening of children for auditory, speech, and visual challenges in Barbados. She is convinced the use of technology can make the process easier for the medical personnel who will be involved. The Prime Minister made the point during her address to the Caribbean Association of Principals of Secondary School Conference underway in Barbados. Ms. Motley also wants to see greater emphasis placed on reading programs.
We had a program going, and if I could turn back the hands of the clock, it is the one thing. 2 programs that were stopped since I was Minister of Education. And it hurts me to the core across both parties. One was the understanding that every child between the ages, at the age of 3 and at the age of 5, ought to be tested for hearing, speech, and sight. There are too many children who we may not realize have some kind of impediment, disability, may not even be as large as that, but it affects their capacity to learn. If you cannot read, you could as well not be emancipated. And this is not a case like 30, 40, 50 years ago, where people genuinely may have wanted to go to school but were denied the opportunity for all kinds of reasons. Lack of access to schools, lack of capacity of families to be able to support them being able to go, all kinds of reasons. For the most part, everywhere in this region, education is delivered free at the primary, and for the most part at the secondary level, even if there's still a few countries that have capacity issues at the secondary level.
Hubbard's is once again innovating the way you shop with its new online store, providing 24-hour shopping convenience. You can shop now for appliances, hardware, houseware, building material, and more. Free delivery island-wide. Start shopping now at hubbardshardware.gd. Safe, convenient, reliable.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please continue to log on to CaribbeanPerspective.com for more daily news and more.